All right, guys. Hello and welcome back to the Fit Biz podcast. So I am here today with special guest, Brianna Kuhlwein, which is the coolest last name ever. And I'm excited. We were talking about this a little bit before I just hit record. I'm really excited for you guys to meet Bree because she has been through IFCA. She joined in August and we're recording this in February. So what is that? August, October, November, 6 months now in IFCA. She's had a hell of a transformation through her business, but also one thing you alluded to in a testimonial that you filmed for us is like in your life in general, it's just transcended to other areas. We'll get into that a little bit. But specifically why I think it's going to be so cool to hear from Bree's perspective is she was an in-person personal trainer for 5 years prior to pivoting online. And I find that in-person trainers have the worst money mindset ever. They don't charge what they're worth. They're just so used to working hard, long hours in the gym for shit money usually. And it's hard to snap them out of that. And with Bree, we've been able to do that. So Bree, last I heard you had a $25,000 month. How are things going in business now?
Good. I would say that was probably one of my higher months. I'm definitely consistently hitting between, I'd say 10 and 15 right now is where I'm floating between, projecting a little bit higher over 15 for the next month. So I'm excited for that. I definitely thought I was higher originally when I started, but seeing my growth, I was like, oh, no, I wasn't.
Yep. Very cool. Well, cool. Well, let's get into just a little bit of your journey because I understand that you've been training in person for about 5 years. You're a hell of a coach. You have all the certifications. You have a big focus on functional movement, and like you get people good results, and nobody has a good business without that. So I think that's fundamental, like non-negotiable thing you've got to do. But let's talk about kind of how you're running your business before IFCA, because I know you tried to you did sort of step into the online space about 1.5 years ago, but what were you doing differently then versus now?
So when I first started the online world, I more so was in person, right? Because that's what I knew how to do. I knew that online was where I wanted to go because I think for a lot of coaches and trainers in general, COVID was a big eye opener as far as being able to make an impact and help people. You're going to be able to scale completely different than you can in person. So when I first started about 1.5 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing as far as it in person. I was posting on social media, trying to get people to come in. I did have an app, so that was nice. It wasn't the app that I'm currently using, but it was already set up, so it was easy. That was a smooth transition for me. But it was like, okay, I'm going to do your programs, but I'm also going to, I'm going to give you some nutrition guidance, and I'm going to do all of this, and give you weekly check-ins, and only charge you like $100 to $200 a month.
Yep, there's the money mindset that I'm talking about that all in-person trainers have. And you were able to really break through that in IFCA and start charging what you're worth and put together a package that feels like valuable and worth it to you. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, where have you been able to start? Like, you started at $100 a month and made yourself a minimum wage entrepreneur, like many of us do. And then you were able to increase your prices. Just talk me through it. What are your prices? And also, like, how do you feel confident charging that now?
I would say I definitely feel more confident because as a coach, it was something that I realized I need all areas. Like, if I want my clients to be successful, they need everything. They need the nutrition guidance. They need accountability. They need the training aspect. They need to move better. So we've got to work on mobility. So I knew coming into it, like, I had all the components that were worth it and that were valuable. But it was a matter of how do I put this all together and get a client to see the value in it. My front end offer is actually $800 a month right
Awesome.
now. So a massive, massive difference. And then the back end kind of ranges between $500 and $600 a month. So yeah, giant transition there.
Very cool. Let's talk about just what other things we did inside of IFCA. Like, if you could take yourself all the way back to August, what you were doing before. What other things did we do to maybe transition people from in-person to online? And obviously we increased your prices. What else got you from point A to point B?
I've always been being in person. I think one of the benefits of being an in-person trainer is you get that aspect of community, but I've definitely started doing a lot more for my clients that provides that community feel for them, like the Facebook group providing so many free resources. Like I do like free workouts every once in a while, but I wasn't providing like recipes or step-by-step guides. And I've implemented so many organizational systems that I'm a very organized person. Like I thrive being organized. So to have all those back-end systems, it's been completely different. Building my Facebook group, just building my community, reaching out to other people. Another big thing that I did was, I took that step of like, okay, let's work on doing some of these things online with my in-person clients to show them that they can get honestly better results online than in person.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because that's such a limiting belief for so many in-person people. They're like, oh, I just don't know how online really works. And, nobody wants to drop their quality of service, and you don't have to. I promise people get better results. So stay on that, if you will. Like, why do they get better results? How do they get better results? How do you show up differently as an online coach?
Well, first of all, I don't feel drained. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some days where I'm exhausted, but going face to face from, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. every single day is exhausting. I'm not a good coach by 6 or 7 p.m. Like I'm not even a good coach by 4 p.m. if I'm there at the gym all day.
Yeah.
And they're just so much more committed, right? There's only so much that my clients can do when they show up in that 30 minutes to an hour, 2 or 3 times a week.
Right.
We had to focus on the other 23 hours out of the day. What are you doing as far as nutrition? How are you moving daily? What is your stress management like? How are you sleeping? And we're able to actually look at all of those components, and really the exercise it's the fun part for them.
Yeah.
Right? The workouts become the fun part, and everything else is just like, okay, I'm ready to do these. I'm okay with doing these. We're able to focus truly on goals. We can only talk about so much in an hour-long session.
Right.
When we're trying to train at the same time.
Right. And I came from the in-person world too. I owned a gym, and there's no real structure around it. So I know for me, it was like, the only reason results would even get brought up sometimes would be because they brought them up, right? I didn't have like a check-in sheet, and I wasn't looking at side-by-side photos every single week. And I wasn't looking at all of their data like I can as an online coach. So it would be like, oh, I'm frustrated that I still haven't lost this weight. Like, well, how much do you weigh? Well, this, and how long have you been there? It's like for like 4 months, and really all the workouts we're doing are just a distraction. So then I'm like, well, what's your diet like? And it's just, I did this back in 2012 before online coaching was really a thing. And I was just so thankful when I learned systems, and like, wow, I could track all of this. I can do all of this. I can help people so much more. Would you say that has given you the confidence to raise your prices and charge what you're worth now?
100%. Yeah. And I think a lot of it too, I mean, like you said, in person, it's like, they'll be like, okay, I haven't lost, 10, 15 pounds, or I haven't lost any weight. Okay. Well, what's your nutrition like? And half the time they don't really even know. They barely remember what they ate yesterday.
Yeah.
So to be able to see those things, to be able to see the progress pictures, to be able to see the changes on the scale, the body measurements, the nutrition, the steps, all the things that are going to go into the results. Like we're able to see all that. Like you said, I can look at the data. I can see what needs to be worked on and what's working and what's not working.
Yeah. Yeah. So systems, definitely something that you've laid the foundation of, gotten really good at in your business, which is really important. I was looking through all of like our backend system. We have Asana, and we have all of our client notes in there. So I was just kind of peeking through Lacey's notes and chatting with her before this. One other thing you did really well is you came right out of the gate in the first 6 weeks of IFCA. If I look at all of your guys' check-in notes, and you did a launch in the way that we teach it inside of IFCA, and you got good at sales and marketing. You put it out there, you made some direct offers, you asked people to buy your stuff, you did our whole launch strategy. And you had, what was it, like a $20,000 month, that first month, just by actually doing sales and marketing. Was that a shift for you? Was that a new skill you had to learn? Did you have any kind of preconceived, oh, I don't like this beforehand or anything?
I think everybody hates sales.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something like, for me being an in-person trainer, I still did the sales when I was at the gym, right? And that's honestly probably worse because you're sitting down face to face, not over a computer screen. But for me, when I was doing this on my own in my business with the online business, I was doing everything over a phone call. Now I don't do that. I had a phone call turn into a FaceTime. I would much rather be able to see those clients face to face. So yes, it's changed for me. I definitely think that a lot of confidence just came from like you guys being like, okay, this is what you're doing. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing. We're sitting down conversation. This is how we're doing it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, maybe I'll see you in a few months.
I love it. That's exactly what Lacey said when I was just kind of asking about like some of the notes and nuance of stuff that you guys have done. She's like, man, Bree's great because she just didn't have some of those limiting beliefs. Once I was just like, nope, it's worth this and charge this. And she just kind of did.
She originally asked me, she was like, how much do you think we should charge? And I was like, well, I was thinking 2,400. She was like, okay, that's it. And I was like, oh, that's the only conversation we're having. Okay.
Yep. I love it. So, do you still hate sales?
I would say it's not my favorite thing, but I would not say that I hate it because I believe in the product that I'm providing. And at the end of the day, I've had so many, I would say, conversations that have not necessarily led to a sale, but I've changed a life in some sort of way.
Yeah.
It may be the way that they think, or it may be the way that they approach, health or nutrition. And I actually enjoy that. I enjoy getting, whether people sign up with me or not, like getting to have that conversation, getting to dig into their goals and know more about, how they can be successful.
Yeah. I respect that answer that you're like, it's not my favorite thing. Which is cool, the position you're in now, because now you're starting to hire and delegate in your business. And in business, there's always going to be things you have to do daily that you don't love, but you can kind of make like a quadrant where it's like, I love it and I'm good at it. I'm good at it and I hate it. I hate it and I'm bad at it. And then like, I love it, but I'm bad at it kind of thing, and know where to start outsourcing. So if you're good at it, but you dislike it, that's the first quadrant we're going to look in, which we've started to look in because you are hiring for sales positions now, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm hiring my setter right now.
Very cool. And also an assistant coach, right? Or you have an assistant coach?
So I'm hiring my assistant coach as well. I have 2 virtual assistants though already.
Wow. And those were also in the last 6 months?
Yeah.
That's incredible, Brie. Have you stopped to be like, I've built a company in 6 months that now employs 4 people?
Yeah. No, I haven't, but a lot of my clients have for me.
Yeah. Very cool. How many total clients do you guys have as a company?
About 38 right now.
You know what's cool about that? As I was looking through your notes, we always write down our clients' 1-year goal, and your 1-year goal was to have 40 to 50 clients. And that would be by August, and you're almost practically there.
Yeah.
Very cool. So yeah, let's talk about that, because I mean, you've covered so much ground in the last 6 months. And I think so many things can stop people at any phase of the journey, right? Sales and marketing, a limiting belief comes up, or pricing comes up, or hiring comes up. What's been the hardest thing for you so far? Has any of it been hard? You've kind of made it look easy.
Honestly, outreach.
Yeah.
Starting conversations with people, that's definitely been my biggest limiting belief for me. It's like, I'm annoying people who I'm just curious about, like how they're doing and like what's going on in their life. So that's been the biggest challenge for me so far.
Yeah. Well, you were just at the legacy retreat. And I did my whole presentation around sales, outsourcing, and things like that. Are you excited about the potential of stepping in as a sales leader?
I am. I'm excited for that. I think delegation has been a challenge for me as well. Because not that I don't think anybody can't do it better than me. I think I'm not that great. I think people can do a lot of things better than me. So yeah, I'm excited to get into that role and really focus on that. So eventually I can put someone else in there who is probably better than I am.
Yeah. It's a simple mindset shift, really, to just realize, man, if I'm trying to do all the things halfway at this point in my business, if like, who am I to think if someone's in there 100% of the time, they can't be better at this than me? So I just feel like you have such a solid mindset, really. What advice would you give to an in-person trainer who is maybe just like, they don't know how to move online, right? They're maybe where you're at. They're like, I'll just piece some of this together. I'll try some Zoom workouts. I'll do this. I'll do that. What would you say to them?
I would say get help and assistance before you do all of that. Because for me, I started my business. I know that I touched base with you June of, what was that, 2021? So a whole year before I even reached back out and was like, okay, hey, by the way, I'm doing the thing. I'm ready now. And that is something that I wish that I would have done. I think I learned a lot by doing it on my own for a year, but I think there's a lot of things I could have had a lot of growth and I could have helped my clients a lot better had I gotten a mentor earlier. Because the worst part about having to go and get a mentor after that is like, you have to fix a lot of things that you didn't do well.
Yeah. And you can burn yourself in some ways if you're undercharging, because it's like, it's really hard to raise prices when you're already undercharging and undervaluing yourself, because it's not like we can add more components to the offer. And in your situation, it was like, oh, you're missing a few things with your offer. Not a big deal. We can add those things. And you haven't like messed things up too bad. But sometimes I talk to in-person trainers and they're giving away the farm because they've figured the systems piece out. Maybe they've listened to enough of our free content, because we have, here's all of your systems freebies. They implement all those, but they don't listen to our offer advice and our sales advice. And so then they give this whole offer for $100, and it's like, well, where do you go from there? Do you tell your clients, hey, sorry, I screwed up and now I'm increasing this because I hate my job and I hate my life? That doesn't go over very well. But if you proposition a new opportunity, hey, you're getting this and it's more value and you'll get better results. And yeah, it does. Of course, it's more expensive. Then your clients, they like that, they trust you. So there are, and I'm glad you said that, because I did the same thing. For 4 years, I ran my business without getting any help. And I'm just like, gosh, that could have been a multi-million-dollar company if I knew what I knew now. So there's just, the only reason you wait on those kind of things is because you don't value your time. And one thing I've really learned in the last year, just, since losing my dad, is just to realize how short life is. And if you don't value your time, what do you really even value in life?
Yeah.
If we can speed things up. Let's see here. So continuing to walk through the journey, of, bringing things in-house, bringing things online, hiring, like building the entire company. I want to go back to some of the maybe initial beliefs, because that's the hardest part for some people, is to just make the transition and do it online. Did you ever have a fear around like, my clients need me in person, they won't want to do online?
Oh yeah. I worked at a box gym. I actually worked with Ricky, who's another student now at UAC. And we both worked in that gym, and then it was kind of just a couple of us trainers left. And I was terrified. I wasn't allowed to tell anybody what I was doing, until after I was gone. And I was like, okay, yep, this is it. And I'm going online, and yeah, I had no idea what anyone was going to think, right? All these people told me before, like we had worked together for years. They're like, oh yeah, during COVID, I couldn't do the online thing. Like it doesn't work for me. So that was very terrifying at first.
Yeah. How did that go? Did you get many of them to come over?
Yeah, I had quite a few who came over. I would say probably at least 40 to 50%.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what's funny is the rest of the 50%, they likely still follow you. They'll keep up with you. You're going to post the results of the people that they saw in the gym. They're going to be like, oh, they're doing that online thing that I didn't think that I could do. And then they come around. That's exactly how it happens.
Yeah. I still have conversations. Like I still connect with a lot of them over things, but if they decided that's the best job for them, then it'll be from seeing everything else.
Right. Yeah. Did you use our framework, VSL framework, to kind of share with them the new offer and everything?
Mhm. Yeah,
Awesome.
so I did that. Yeah, completely. That's the only thing I've used the framework from basically top to bottom for guidance, because otherwise I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying. What am I supposed
Yeah.
to say in this email? Like, I have no
Yeah.
idea.
There's a right way to do that and a wrong way to do that with all of those conversations. Like if you want to influence anybody to do anything, whether it's go from in person to online, or hey, you have to raise your prices, you can position that in a way where people are excited for the new thing. And oftentimes we take our own bias and our own nerves and we're like, oh, this online thing that I'm not sure if it's going to work yet, and I'm scared, and what if they say no? And then we pitch it in a way that's like, hey, do you want to stop having workouts with me in person and go online? Like, they're like, no, I want to keep going. But if you highlight all the features and all the new things that they get and the result that they're actually going to see, and, the biggest thing is your trust and conviction is behind it, because you're the authority, you're the person that they're already paying. So if a doctor says to you, hey, I recommend that you have this surgery, you're not going to be like, well, can I do this? Like, no, they're telling you what you should do, and they're giving you a course of action. So a lot of it comes down to that, but in IFCA, we make it super simple with like a framework, plug in your stuff right here. This is how you have the conversation. And a 50% conversion on those is really good. And then along with the sales and marketing skills and actually packaging a good irresistible offer, putting it out there, we've been able to see things really take off, and I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been amazing to have the guidance too, because like you said, just having those conversations, the first thing I was thinking was like, oh, I'm gonna have a conversation to tell people like, hey, want to stop working out in person, even though we have fun and like you get a great workout, like we're gonna do this online, when they don't even have a gym membership, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, this has been great, Bree. What's next for you? What's like your next big goal?
So I would love to get my assistant coach up to full roster. I am actually planning a first little client retreat day. Um, in the next few months, it'll be here local, that we just kind of do something fun, maybe do a spa day together. So yeah, and then just continue growing from there, building my assistant coaches roster, and hopefully adding on a second assistant coach after that.
Yeah. Um, at the legacy retreat, you heard us talk a lot about LTV and how your business just grows and compounds on each other after a little while. Have you gotten to the place yet where you're selling back end offers?
Yes. Yeah. So my conversion rate is about 75, or my
Wow,
75%. Yeah.
that's amazing. So how many people have finished like a round of your program and converted to the back end?
10 now.
Okay, cool. Man, that's just going to compound on itself. You have such a good start to your business. 38 clients, and like only 10 of them have even made it that far yet. If you just do the math and realize where you'll be a year from now, you heard us say this at the legacy retreat, but you take someone like Vanessa Gillette, for example, who did 720K in revenue last year. 500K of that was from her back end, from her retention, from her clients who were staying on. So you could stop sales and marketing a year from now and you would still be in a really awesome position. So I'm just like really proud of you for taking the leap, because I know it's really scary to go from I've known this for 5 years and this has worked, to be like, I mean, it's essentially like move in a whole different industry. Like you have to learn a whole new skill set, a whole new way to do your job. But you've done it right. You've done it right in the last 6 months. And I'm just so excited to see where you're going to be a year from now.
Thank you. I am too. I'm super excited.
Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you sharing your wisdom and journey with our audience, and just, helping push in-person trainers along a little bit. I've been in the online space now for over 10 years, and I forget that there are still people grinding in person, like 6 a.m. wake up calls and split shifts and missing evenings with their family. And I'm just like, oh my God, there's a better way. And every once in a while I find one of my DMs and I'm like, wow, you're still out there doing it. So hopefully, if not hearing it from me is enough, hearing the story and listening to, the way she's been able to transform her business and her life will help push you along.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys, we will see you next time.